Hey, how you doing? This is Tom, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show. And you can see I've got an array of these mini radios. And this is the latest one. Came to me this week from GOOZEEZOO. It's the V3 version. Now, that's the version of the hardware, not the firmware. And I'll be getting into that in a few minutes. Let me go back to my notes. The white one I bought, and it's got firmware version 1.08, one of the first ones. And it's working fine. It does have the encoder function where you have to be real quick to select the menus and then tune through the menus before it resets back to playing the radio. This is the Let's see, this is the next one I got. I got this from GOOZEEZOO, and I broke the rotor here, the encoder. I broke the encoder. I was tuning through the band real fast, and I guess maybe I overheated it, but it jammed, and then I broke off the tuning knob. So they sent me this one for replacement. This one came with firmware version 109, which was quite a bit of improvement, but it still had some shortcomings. This is the latest one I got this week. This has got firmware, and let me see what I wrote it down, 2.27. So it doesn't have the very, very latest. I mean, they're updating the firmware for these things like weekly. I think it's up to now 3.0 or 1 or 2. And they all have just a little bit of enhancement. But this one has a big enhancement over these other ones. And I'll show you those enhancements now. Comes with two antennas, the telescopic antenna, which is about 22 inches, and then here's the box. It also comes with that antenna. I don't really like those antennas, so I don't use them. And there is the USB cable. Now, before I forget, what's really exciting is I was able, there's a website that will take you to a interface to this radio. And what that interface will let you do is on your computer, you can put in the frequencies of the 99 memories, up to 99. And I did about 20 of them. Makes it so easy instead of tuning, because you can't direct tune. You have to dial tune. So to store a memory, you have to tune it, and then you have to go to the memory menu page and then say store. Or you can pick a different memory and say store, and it'll store it in. With that USB interface and this website, you can type it all in on your computer and say, write it to the radio, and it'll write it to the radio. Then you can say, okay, I want to save that, read it from the radio, and save it to a file. Very, very nice feature. Now, here's the bad news. And it's me again, struggling. This also will talk via Wi-Fi. And the reason you would use that function is you can download the EIB database. Now, I don't know how they cut down that database, because that database is huge and there's, excuse me, tons of duplicates. So I don't know how they went through it and said, yeah, we'll keep this one, we'll drop that one. But they did. Anyway, I'd like to get a hold of that database just to have it to put in some of my other radios. Anyway, so you first have to connect the radio via Wi-Fi to a phone, a cell phone, for instance, or a tablet. And then you can go through and get it to your tablet to talk to it. And then you get a screen, which I showed you in the previous video, where you can configure the Wi-Fi to talk to your router or modem, whatever. I could not get that to work. I have two routers from two different companies, and I could not get it to connect. It would not connect. And I really, really wish I could get that working, because I want that EIB database so that once it's loaded, when you're tuning on the shortwave band, it will pop up the station names right in here. But I didn't get it to work. So I'm doing something wrong. I'm so close. Anyway, let's move on. These are about 3 inches by 1 inch by 1 inch approximately. That's how big they are. Easily fit in the palm of your hand. This is the USB port, on-off switch, and over here is the headphone jack. That's it. That's everything, like I said before, is done via, excuse me, this encoder. But the display is so sharp and bright, and you can change it. Let me see if I can do that right now. Hold on. So let me get it up here and get the camera to focus. I push. Now it stays in this selection mode a long time. Before, on those previous versions, you had like a half a second and it would reset like that. So push and hold. Go to, where is it? A lot of options. Look at all these options. It must be under settings. I haven't ever changed it. Must be under settings. So you can turn RDS on. Theme. Let me try theme. Okay. There's a default. There's a blue. There's a E-Link. There's pager. What's driving my camera crazy? There's orange. Kind of like the orange, but not really. There's night. Nah, it's kind of blah. There's phosphorus. Nah. There's space. Yeah, kind of like that. There's magenta. Nah. There's default. I like default. Okay, so that's in real life, the display looks even nicer than my camera showing. Now see, it's trying to connect to Wi-Fi. So I've got it set up. I've got the radio set up to try to talk to Wi-Fi, but it can't connect. So I don't know what that's about. Moving on. Now, in case you didn't see previous ones of these radios, over here on the left-hand side, there's an info box, and it shows you the steps. Right now it's 100 kilohertz, which you can change. The bandwidth, I got it on auto, which you can change. AGC on and off, which you can change. Volume, and a VC. Now on this version, you can push and hold, and you're in the volume mode.
Then in July, the Education Department launched an investigation into 5 universities that offer financial help directly to DACA recipients.
There, that's pretty cool. Let me set it back down before I drop it. It also, they added the antenna interface will also work with high Z. Don't really need that, but you do have FM stereo via the earphones, and when you've got a station tuned, and I don't know, I don't know if that one's, I don't think, no, that's talk radio. So let me go to memory. I'll show you all the things I programmed. There we go. Whoop, went right past it. What am I doing wrong? I'm skipping over it for some reason. It's a little hard for me to hold this. Keep skipping over memory. There we go. Memory. And there's all the stations I programmed. And see, it goes right through them. There's shortwave. There's, that's shortwave. So I got, oh, well, that's interesting. Somehow, that's weird. Oh, there they are. Okay, I was going to say I lost my FM ones. So, I think that might be stereo. No. There. Now, did you see when I went to this station, it was stereo, and now we have 2 antenna bars. That's indicating a stereo broadcast. So if you use the earphones, and you got stereo earphones, you can listen to it in stereo. All you can also, not on this station, it's very good, but this is the RDS information. Again, it's not very good on this particular station. Okay, let me set it down again before I drop it. Look at my notes. I talked about, it has a seek mode and a search mode, but it does not have a seek, or if you want to call it seek, you can go out and search, whatever. I'll get that right in a minute. Okay, what do you expect from an old man? God. It does not have ATS. That's what I'm trying to say. Does not have ATS. I don't know why, but it does not have ATS. It does, and it's more noticeable on the different bands, and it's not the same on all bands. It does have muting while tuning. Not bad, but it does have it. You can control, for instance, the bandwidth. If you want to, like I'm listening to stereo now, so I want to increase the bandwidth, stereo FM. I want to increase the bandwidth, so you can do that. So it's AM, FM, long wave, CB, it has a CB selection, shortwave, and single sideband, upper and lower single sideband. I did a test early in the morning when shortwave conditions were a little better. I only got like 2 or 3 stations using this telescopic antenna, and those were in the United States. I think one was in Tennessee, one was in Okeechobee. When I added or connected my Megaloop antenna, I got about 7 stations, all within, let's say, 2,000 miles. I could barely hear China radio. It was very weak and in and out. I could hear WWV using that loop antenna. Could not hear WWV using this. Now it's about 8 o'clock in the morning here, so it's kind of late, but I'm going to go to memory, and then I'm going to go to one station that I usually can get. I say usually. Let's just see if we can get it. Yeah, it's there, but it's weak, and I'm getting some kind of interference. That's interesting. Now, see that little arrow, down arrow? That's where it's trying to download that EIB database, but I haven't got it working. Normally, I don't get that interference I'm getting, but I'm in my office. What do you expect? Lots of stuff going on here. Look at, I just love how bright the display is. battery indication here. This, like I said before, that's an indication that it's trying to connect to Wi-Fi. If it's able to connect, that signal, that symbol will turn green. The only time I've got it to turn green was when I had it connected to my cell phone's Wi-Fi. And then all I could do is just configure the router information. I really like it. It's so portable. And of course, if I took it outside, and especially took it to a park where there are no houses around, it would probably do pretty good on shortwave, given the time of day and conditions. Turn that volume down. Yep. Whoop. Oh, that's the other thing. If you push and hold for a long time, it turns the display off. Notice that ticking sound is gone. We turn the display back on. Okay. There we go. It seems right now, every time it updates the display here on the signal strength, it's making a ticking sound. I don't know if Todderbert experienced that when he did his review. And I didn't experience that before, but watch or listen. It's gone. So that he did mention, Todderbert did mention that you do get interference from the display. So I think that's why they added this mode where you could turn the display off. And there's a prime example of interference caused by the display. I didn't notice that before. This is the first time I noticed it, but I sure noticed it now. Maybe it's the frequency. Let me try just tuning it off that frequency. Yeah, it went away. Or it's not as bad. Now, of course, it may not be as bad because we're not getting as many bars because the signal is not as strong. I go back to 93.3. Yeah, well, that's a negative. But you just have to turn the display off. That's about it. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I try to keep my videos around 15 minutes. Otherwise, people fall asleep and bump their head. So I try to keep them under 15 minutes. And I figure if I miss something, you will leave a comment with a question and say, well, what about this? And then I can either answer it or do another video and show you maybe an example that answers your questions. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed my show, please give me a thumbs up. That tells those people at YouTube that I'm providing something interesting, and they tell more people about my show and I get more views, and it's all good for everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.